Yeah, man. Wagwan. Welcome to Working with Jay. And these videos will kind of just be me, or y'all watching me work and figure out and solving problems and issues that people bring to me to get sorted out. Today, we're working on a 2007 Toyota Sienna, and it came in for a couple of issues. One is that there's an overheating issue, apparently. I haven't got it started to verify this complaint. Also, when when I do start it and try to put the vehicle in gear, well, it can't go in gear. Oh, that doesn't sound nice. It wanted to shut off too. All right. Otherwise, also, we have a couple of lights on. We have the check engine light on. Um, that's all I'm gonna say for now. And the first thing I want to do is to put my computer on there and see if I can find any codes telling me or helping me navigate where to begin. So we put my computer on there, and guess what? There's no connection. Normally up here you'd see a green light that looks like a vehicle. That would tell you that, okay, hey, the computer is connected to the vehicle's computer, right? When it is on the OBD or onboard diagnostic port down here, you should have something that tells you you're connected, and it would tell me that the battery voltage of the vehicle. So that's the first thing we're gonna check out before going into anything else. Now, how I tend to go about solving these issues is kind of like picking the low-hanging fruit, the easiest things, or the most essential things you need to get to before you start. So, well, I don't have any communication with a computer on the onboard diagnostic system. So the first issue I'm going to tackle is that one. And the first place I'm going to go, normally these vehicles have a fuse that is specifically designated for the OBD or onboard diagnostics. So I'm going to locate that one, and this one happens to be underneath the driver's dash, the junction box here. And if you look, oh, look here first. Can you see, where is it? It's a 7.5 amp fuse by where my thumb is. Right there, that says OBD. That is the fuse I'm going to check first to see if there's power going to it. And you can use a test light, like I have in my hand, this, or you could use a multimeter to check the voltage drop across the fuse. So, sticking it in here on each of the pins. When the key is turned on, I should have power going to it, and the light should light up on my test light. But as you can see, or not, okay, there we go, that's a better look. As you can see, there is no light lighting up on my test light. Now we can check another fuse and just check randomly to make sure. You know, at least one of these should. Maybe not. Okay, see? So we know that this is grounded correctly, right? But on this 7.5 amp fuse for the OBD port, we have that there is no power there. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I need to locate the schematic that will tell me how the flow of electricity moves through the circuit. specifically for the OBD port. Alright, here we are inside on my computer. This is a really old computer actually. With an old all data software that I have, and I'm in the power distribution diagram, and this is basically telling me what all the fuses do as well as their flow of electricity, where it goes for the most part, and this should help me find out what's going on. So what I'm trying to locate now, the first thing I'm trying to locate, because of the issue I have, is the OBD port not getting power. That's the first thing I'm going to search for. So if I look through, I can find that, alright, here we go. Here's the 7.5 amp OBD fuse, which is inside of the interior junction box that I showed you earlier. So tracing this backwards through all these splices, we find that the 7.5 amp OBD OBD port fuse goes through this white wire. This is where it's getting power from. So if we follow this backwards, we find that this white wire is getting power from this block. Okay, cool. Which is the fusible link block. Alright, so we're going to have to find the fusible link block. In this fusible link block, this consists of a lot of other fuses. This is the main fuse, by the way, inside of the engine bay. The 50 amp heater, the AC, the fan, that might help later on. I'm not sure just yet, but he said they were having an overheating issue, and if this fuse is blown, the fan cannot come on, and you're definitely going to have a overheating issue. So the things I'm going to write down are, because these are in the same circuit, I'm going to check if the seat works. I'm also going to check if, let's see, what else? I believe the windows. Right here. You have the OBD fuse, AC inverter. You have a sunroof fuse, power window. So I'm going to check if the power windows work as well. If we're not getting power here, then we shouldn't be getting power here as well. And then we have front defrost. Those all shouldn't be getting power. So those two things I'm going to check without tearing into anything. The seat, if that doesn't move, we know that, alright, we're not getting power here. And, or at least power is not coming out of this. It doesn't mean that the fusible link block isn't getting power itself. It just means power isn't coming out of it. So that's the first things I'm going to check. Now I'm trying to make this as quick as possible so that I'm not wasting any time. So what I wrote down as I was going through the schematic is the flow of electricity. The first thing I really want to check, since that fuse is connected is in the same circuit as the power windows and the power seats, I'll probably want to check if the power windows or the power seat works. And if it doesn't, we know that we have some issue there, and we'll trace it back to whichever fuse is prior to those fuses. So now, with the key on, we're going to check if the windows work. Not hearing anything. Not the front, not the back. Who knows? The switch might be. No. And we get nothing. Okay. What about the seat? Let's see. So we have this here. Hey, guess what? The seat now woke. Alright, I'm trying the back. Drive forward, we have no power at all. So that tells me something really quick. Check further up in the circuit. Alright, night's coming down, so I want to finish this part of the video and continue tomorrow or so. So now we know that there is a 50 amp power seat fuse that is in the same circuit as the OBD port. So is the sunroof. This doesn't have a sunroof. It doesn't happen to. And so are the windows. So we look into here and we're trying to find this is the fuse box under the hood, fuse box. So we look onto this. So now we look at what is this? What is this called? Diagram. So now we're looking at the diagram for the actual fuse box under the hood. And we're trying to locate where the power seat fuse is. And we know that it's a 50 amp fuse, so if you look right there, based on the schematic, it's in a fusible link block, right? Which is this big rectangle with a lot of those squares inside of it. And that is a fusible link. Okay, so let's see if we can find that 50 amp fuse. If we match it up with how this looks, we see that that fuse, the seat fuse, is inside of here. Uh-oh. These aren't fuses that I can change. This whole block is going to need to be changed. This is called a fusible link, or the main fuse. And normally this goes bad if the polarity of the battery when it was being changed or something, or if somebody had put something straight across and cross the terminals. These individual fuses, or the main fuse, will blow. And a lot of the time what will happen is the vehicle won't even be able to start. But we know that the seat's not working, neither are the windows working, and we know that that fuse is inside of that fusible link. So I can conclude that the first problem we're going to need to address is getting a new fusible link. Alright, here I am the next day or so. It's nice and sunny now. And I'm going to continue testing this to verify what is going on. And I already got the part that I discussed a little earlier in the video. This fusible link block. But I'm going to confirm that this is the issue before I actually take it apart and change it. So based on that schematic, there's a white fusible link, main is how the schematic tells it to be. If you look down there, there are, I don't know how well you can see in there, but there's three connections, or connections? There's three connections on this side, 1, 2, and 3. They're connected by these little bolts, and 3 on this side, 1, 2, and 3. If the camera would just focus though. But if you look down in here, you should be able to see, I really don't know how well the camera's picking this up, that there are those two big white wires, 1 and 2. One of those is the fusible link. So what we need to do is check if power is going to this. We know that power is not coming out of it, but we need to make sure and verify that power is going to the fusible link block. So after grounding the test light and putting the test light on the connection right there, see that we have power going in, and here we have power going in as well. And I'll even check this third one, we have power going in. So we can conclude that the fusible link block is our issue. Now the first thing I'm going to want to do when I'm changing this, anything to deal with an electrical repair, we want to disconnect the battery first. that so happen to be loose. Alright, so the first thing you're gonna do first thing you're gonna want to do is remove this nut here. Actually don't know. Based on what I was getting from the reading, this might be ground or one of them. But either way, remove this nut. There's two little pry tabs right here. You want to pull these back, and then it should be able to come right off like this. Just bring this all the way up and out, and that's it. As you can see, it's a black wire, most likely that's ground. Tuck this away from the battery, make sure your terminals on the battery are safe from anything crossing. And remember, this is after disconnecting the battery as well. I disconnected both terminals. As you can see, you have your positive and your negative here. Always look on the battery to make sure which of these terminals are positive and negative. Next, if you look down inside the fuse box, you will see two tabs where my screwdriver is pointing. So there's one here, and there's one on the other side, right down there. You're gonna want to pry on those and then pull this up. And actually, I misspoke. There's actually a third one. There's a third tab. So there's 1, 2, and then there's 3 at this short edge down in there. So once those tabs are pushed in and unlocked from the actual inside of the fuse box, you should just be able to. Oh, also, I took this out just to get a little better grip on this. It should come out just as easy as this. And now, now let's get these off, these connectors, and see what we can find. We're gonna take note of where they are. So we have two white ones here and a red and black. And then on the next side, how well you can see that. Yeah, you have two black and you have a white wire here. Alright. Alright, here I got the old, here's the old part. This is the old fusible link block, and here's the new one from Toyota. And if you look inside of here, I just actually found the physical break. But if you look right here, you can see that these two parts have been severed because of overcurrent. It's possible that they crossed the battery terminals at some point, but that's what's happening. See, the new one, the wire is actually intact still. Alright, so with that we can conclude that the fusible link block is our issue, or at least one of them, and then we can actually start it. The diagnostic on what the customer had brought it in for, if it persists. So let's get this all back together. Alright, here we go. Here's the new one in, and obviously you just reverse the steps that you took to put it back in. Put the 3 connectors back on, and 3 bolts holding in the 3 wires on this side and on this side. Make sure you mark them. I'll probably put a picture of the front side and the rear side, what it should look like and which wires should go where, for reference. This one is a 2007. I may have said something else earlier in the video, but it's 07 Toyota Sienna. And you put your ground back on. After you push this back down, it's gonna clip in or click in, go soft, and then put the ground wire back on. Reconnect your battery terminals, make sure they're on correctly, negative and positive, and then you can go ahead and start the vehicle. Alright, so here we are back in the, is it focusing? Alright, we're here back inside the vehicle, and if you remember, prior to the diagnosis of the fusible link block, my scan tool wasn't connecting, and we had a check engine light, the ABS light. The seat wasn't working. One of the first things I did when I came in here is I tried this, and we got seat motion. And start it up. Remember, the customer initially complained that it was overheating and that it wouldn't go into gear when he tried to start it. So look at that. In gear easy like Sunday morning. But we still have a check engine light on, so I went in the computer and went to see what it was. But we just have the throttle actuator control motor current range / performance codes in there, and what those are is basically it detected a low voltage, and what was happening that caused this DTC to pop up on the computer is there was an open in the ETCS, or the electronic throttle control system power source, which obviously could have happened having that fuse blown. So we're gonna go ahead and clear those out, let it run and monitor it to make sure that it doesn't overheat, and this other issue that he came in for, that it wasn't going into gear, that's all good. But I didn't get to show you that part of the video of me finishing putting the fuse back in because the camera had died and it might die again, so I just wanted to shoot this really quick in case this was the end of the video. But if there are no other issues, then this was it. And actually that wasn't it. I cleared the code and started the vehicle, and it came immediately back on. So now we get to start this part of the diagnosis process and see what's going on. So first thing I'm gonna do is find out what the code means. Obviously this is P, I think it's 2118 2118, and it said there's an open in the electronic throttle control system. So prior to me pulling the schematic for it, I might just check it and see if the fuses are blown first for this, if I can find any that indicate that, hey, this is part of the throttle control system. If not, then I'm going to go inside and pull up the schematic for it, and we'll trace where the brake is in the circuit. We're back under the hood of the vehicle, and if you take a quick look, right here you have a 10 amp fuse, which is the ETCS, which is exactly the one we're after. And if we pull this fuse out, the fuse is blown. If the camera's actually picking it up enough. There we go. Circuit inside of the fuse is blown. So we're gonna go ahead and change that fuse out. Hopefully there's a spare fuse, spare 10 amp. But it doesn't seem there is one. There's 7.5 and 30 amp. So we're gonna have to get a fuse for this and put it in there. I'm not exactly sure how it blew. I'm not sure if it was because of the overcurrent from the terminals being crossed, but that's why this blew anyways. But otherwise, we're gonna go ahead and change that out and keep it moving. I got the new fuse in there, and here we go. No check engine light. So now what we need to do, well, obviously there's one more light in there, but that's for the tire pressure. Yeah, that'll do it. So what we're gonna do now is monitor this, make sure it doesn't overheat. No more check engine light comes on. Obviously the transmission goes into gear now. But after monitoring this, I will let you all know if the job is done. So see you in a second. Alright, here we go. Remember, it was having an overheating issue. At least what it said. The cooling fans, I just test drove it. I needed to verify that the cooling fans were actually coming on. So test drove it, came back and raised the idle. And the temperature went up to about 203 degrees Fahrenheit. And after that, stepped out the vehicle, made sure the cooling fans were activating, they came on. The temperature goes up to about 203. I couldn't really get it higher than that, which is good. And the cooling fans came on, cooled it right back down. Well, that's it for this video. It's actually entirely fixed. Like I said, the customer came in because it was overheating and the vehicle wouldn't go into drive. It wouldn't come out of park, actually. And now there's no overheating issue. Fan comes on, it gets up to operating temperature. Fan comes on, it cools back down and cycles through that. It goes into gear, and yeah, that's it. So the fusible link block was the issue. It looks like someone may have crossed the terminals when they were trying to jump the vehicle after it's sitting for a while, and that was the entire issue. So it's nice when jobs are, as simple as this. But that's it for this video. I hope this helped somebody, and keep learning. All right, yeah, bless. I'm out. Boom.